Welcome to The Explainer, everyone. Today, we are unpacking an absolutely massive shift in how businesses actually connect with people. We're finally moving away from that old, exhausting game of just passively collecting followers, and we're diving into the incredible power of building a thriving, owned brand community. If you've ever found yourself wondering why a huge follower count just isn't translating into real, rock-solid loyalty or business resilience, well, you are absolutely in the right place.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for The Explainer. We're going to quickly cover the difference between an audience and a community, look at what a community isn't, break down the real business value, go over a step-by-step on how to build one, check out the ATRIUM platform, and wrap up with exactly how you measure your success.
Starting right off with Section 1, Audience versus Community.
So, picture the traditional audience model. It's totally passive. It completely relies on one-way communication, flowing directly from the company straight to the customer. Basically, you publish and they consume. But a true community model, that is a whole different ballgame. It is vibrant, it's active, and it's multi-directional. We aren't just talking company to member here, it's member to company, and honestly, most importantly, it's member to member. An audience just sits there and receives information, but a community develops actual, meaningful relationships. Which brings us to Section 2, what a community isn't. Let's debunk a few common myths.
Look, a massive follower account on social media, a packed customer database, a huge newsletter list, or even one of those points-based loyalty programs, don't get me wrong, those are fantastic tools for one-way distribution. But none of them are communities by themselves. Why? Because they simply don't automatically create that vital emotional connection or the peer-to-peer interaction that is absolutely required for a true brand community. A database organizes contacts, right? It doesn't build trust or a sense of belonging.
Now, what's really interesting is how Harvard Business School Online defines this. They call a community a space in which people with a strong emotional connection to a brand interact with the company and with one another. The real anchor here isn't a financial transaction, it's emotional investment. It's a shared identity. It's about people feeling like they have something deeply meaningful in common, not just the random fact that they happen to buy the exact same product.
All right, moving to Section 3, the real business value. Let's talk return on investment.
When we stack up traditional methods against a community approach, the proof just becomes incredibly obvious. Traditionally, businesses literally try to buy loyalty with discounts. But in a community, loyalty is earned through relationships and that shared identity we just talked about. Think about retention. Traditionally, the relationship kind of just drops off right after the sale. In a community, it's continuous. Members are getting ongoing value, and they're even getting onboarded by their own peers. As for content, we shift from these super polished, wildly expensive ads to highly credible, user-generated content. And innovation? Instead of blasting out periodic, boring surveys, you unlock active, continuous co-creation. The community approach literally transforms your customers from simple buyers into co-creators.
And all of these efforts snowball into some seriously compounding business values: stronger loyalty, better retention, faster innovation, hyper-efficient support, and crucially, reduced platform dependence. When you build your own community, you are creating massive business resilience. You're no longer entirely at the mercy of some unpredictable external social media algorithm that could literally choke your reach overnight.
Let's get practical in Section 4, how to actually build one of these. Building a community can definitely feel like a giant puzzle at first, but we can chunk the whole complex process down into 5 really crucial macro phases. First up, define a clear business objective, like what is this actually expected to achieve for the company? Second, identify your ideal founding members. This step is make or break. You literally cannot invite everyone right out of the gate because those very first founding members will dictate the entire future culture of the space. Third, create a crystal clear value proposition. Fourth, figure out the right model. Are we talking open, private, or maybe a hybrid? And fifth, prepare your seed content. You absolutely cannot have your first members walking into a ghost town.
Now, there is a golden formula for nailing down that value proposition. It goes exactly like this. For specific member group, our community is a place to desired outcome through specific activities together with relevant people. A strong community absolutely has to focus completely on the members' benefits. If your only internal objective is, well, we just want more customer data, no one is going to join. You have to frame the entire community around what the member actually gets out of it.
Which brings up a very real, very urgent hurdle. How do you build this dedicated space without just running right back to renting an audience on an external platform and keeping yourself chained to those unpredictable algorithms we talked about?
And that leads us perfectly into Section 5, the ATRIUM platform, and how to finally escape rented audiences.
So the crucial point here is understanding the tech that actually enables this shift. ATRIUM by Linkspreed is essentially an AI-assisted service for creating a company's own dedicated social network, or what you might call a super app, built entirely on Web 4 infrastructure. It basically acts as a hub that allows brands to build a modular, customized, and most importantly, an owned environment, rather than just renting a little corner on a general-purpose social media site.
Now get this, Linkspreed claims that with their AI assistance, the initial technical setup of this network can be done in just 30 seconds, literally half a minute. That is insanely fast for deploying infrastructure. But okay, let's inject a strategic reality check right here. While the software itself might spin up while you're pouring a coffee, building the actual culture, preparing the content, and executing the long-term strategy, that takes real, deliberate work. The platform is the enabler, but you still have to put in the sweat equity to build the community itself.
Let's quickly run through ATRIUM's technical advantages. Obviously, you get that dedicated, fully owned environment. But it also uses a modular plug-in approach. That means you can mix and match, adding only the specific features your unique community actually needs. It connects seamlessly to the broader Web 4 ecosystem, and it offers really deep API integration opportunities, things like OAuth 2.0 single sign-on. Basically, this means you can wire the community directly into your existing customer portals or learning platforms, creating one totally unified experience for your users. Finally, Section 6, measuring your success. How do we actually prove the ROI?
And this brilliantly illustrates how we need to completely shift our mindset away from just hunting for sheer registration numbers. Think about it. 1,000 active contributors are worth infinitely more than 20,000 silent signups. So we measure acquisition to see if we're actually attracting the right people. Activation shows us if they experience real value. Did they actually make that first post? Engagement measures daily or weekly participation. Retention tells us if they actually keep coming back over a 30 or 90-day period. And finally, business impact. This is where we prove the ROI to the company, like tracking the exact number of support cases avoided simply because peers jumped in and helped each other out.
So we've covered the strategy, the tools, and the metrics, which really just leaves us with this final critical question for you to ponder. Will you keep renting your audience, completely dependent on the whims of external algorithms, or will you take control and build your very own brand community? The shift from passive followers to active co-creators is happening right now, and the tools to make it a long-term asset are sitting right in front of you. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I highly encourage you to start mapping out your community strategy today.